Now, a lot of freelancers think that the key to landing more clients is explaining exactly how they work. They walk prospects through every step of their process. They talk about their tools, the technology, the work required. They do this hoping it builds trust. But unfortunately, your clients, they don't care about the journey, they only care about the destination. And you can think about it like this. You see, nobody books a trip to Hawaii because they're excited to go through TSA or sit in a cramped airplane for 6 hours. No, they book the trip because they can already see themselves on the beach, toes in the sand, enjoying the breathtaking views. However, every time you focus on explaining the journey, you're accidentally reminding them of the TSA lines, the layovers, the turbulence. In fact, what's even worse is that you're actually talking them out of hiring you. In this video, I'm going to show you why explaining your process is actually costing you sales. And then I'm going to show you exactly what to say so that the clients say yes faster and give you less pushback and ultimately pay you more. Because once you stop selling the trip and start selling the destination instead, you'll not only make more money, you'll finally free up time to enjoy your own version of Hawaii. So most businesses, they assume that clients want to know exactly how the work gets done. They believe that breaking down the process will actually build confidence. But really, clients aren't paying for the steps, they're paying for the result. So think about the Hawaii trip. Nobody's excited about the plane ride. Nobody's asking what kind of engine the plane uses. They just want to know if it's going to land on time and land safely, and they'll get to enjoy their vacation. But when you start explaining the process, your client's brain it begins to shift. They start focusing on the work that's involved instead of focusing on what the end result is, what they actually want. And the more they think about that work, the more that hesitation creeps in. And they start wondering if it's worth the hassle or not, if it's going to take too long, or if it's more complicated than they thought. See, it's rare to lose work to a competitor. It's much more common to lose work to the status quo, to the client doing just what they've always done. They haven't been to Hawaii before. It's probably too much of a hassle to go anyway, so they'll stay home instead. You see, by explaining the process, you make it feel like homework. You're making them learn things they didn't want to learn. And for a busy client, that feels heavy. It feels like even more work than they already have to manage. But when you focus on the outcome, it feels like relief. It feels like a solution. It feels like progress without extra effort. Here's another way to look at it. Imagine hiring a contractor to remodel your kitchen. You don't want to sit through a 2 hour explanation about plumbing codes or tile adhesives. You just want to know that your kitchen is going to look amazing when it's done and it won't be left in a halfway completed state. You want to see the vision, not the blueprint. And that's exactly how your clients feel. When you lead with your process, you're giving them the blueprint. But what they really want and what they're really buying is the beautiful kitchen. I mean, they're buying the transformation. They're not buying the technical steps it's going to take to actually recreate the kitchen they're looking for. And this shift in perspective is critical. It helps you realize that you don't need to justify your work by showing how hard or complicated it is. You just need to inspire your client by showing what's actually possible. You need to paint the picture of their future, not the struggle it's going to take you to get them there. And when you do this, something interesting happens. Your client, they stop trying to micromanage you. They stop comparing you to competitors based off these small details, and they stop asking for discounts. Instead, they become emotionally invested in the outcome that you're promising. And that emotional investment is what actually draws them to say yes faster and to say yes with even more confidence. Because by focusing on the destination instead of the process, you create a buying experience that feels easy, it feels exciting, and it feels clear. And for a client who's already busy, who's already overwhelmed, who's already stretched too thin, that's what they're looking for. But every time that you explain your process, you're unintentionally creating more questions in your client's mind. Instead of making things clear, you're giving them more reasons to hesitate. And what you meant to be helpful it actually turns into a list of doubts, and a confused person doesn't buy. When you show them all the steps, they start thinking about what could go wrong at each one of those steps. They wonder if it's going to be complicated. They wonder if they'll need to be involved more than they want to be. They wonder if they're actually ready to commit. And once their brain starts going in that path of what ifs, well, it's hard to pull them back. You see, clients, they don't want to think about the work. They want to think about the result. And that's why they went to hire you in the first place. But when you walk them through every detail, you shift their attention away from the outcome and back to the effort. And you're making them weigh whether it's worth the trouble or not. And for busy people, trouble is often a deal breaker. And it's the same reason people sign up for a cruise, because it just takes care of everything. They don't want to plan every meal or figure out every activity. They want to know it's all handled so they can just show up and enjoy it. I mean, I took my wife on a cruise for our honeymoon decades ago, but I did it for that exact reason. I want to have a great time and not have to make a ton of decisions during that week. You see, the more you explain, the more you force your client into thinking about all the ways that this thing could go wrong. And it causes them to start second guessing whether or not they should even move forward. And the moment they have to start evaluating, they start hesitating, and they start asking themselves, should I even do this? Is this the right choice? Is there an easier way? Maybe I should wait until later. And the irony is, by showing them how much you know and how careful you've thought through the process, you're actually making them feel less confident about moving forward, because it's overwhelming. It's like showing a patient the entire surgical procedure, and all they really want is just to wake up healthy, right? And the worst part is you end up creating objections that wouldn't have even existed if you had stayed focused on the destination. Now they're asking things like, well, do we really need this step? Or what happens if we skip that part? Or can we do it cheaper if we simplify this right here? And here's the key. Explaining the process invites negotiation, but selling the outcome, it invites agreement. Because when they're clear on what they want and they see you as the path of getting what they want, they don't want to tinker with the steps. They just want it done. They want it solved, they want it off their plate, and they want to feel confident that you are able to get them where they want to be. However, every time you start explaining the how, you end up risking the sell to unnecessary questions, to doubts and objections. But when you keep them focused on what's possible, you keep them excited, you keep them hopeful, and that's what moves them forward. Because at the end of the day, they're not hiring you to deeply understand your process. Instead, they're hiring you to solve a problem that they no longer want to think about. They don't really care how you do it or what your process is. They may feel better knowing that you have a process, and it's fine to mention it, but please don't spend time talking about all the pieces and parts of what they'll get and how you'll deliver. That's a very fast way to kill the sale, or at the very least, kill the momentum that has been building up to that point. So, if explaining your process pushes the client away, you're probably wondering, well, what should you do instead? Well, fortunately, as we've already been discussing, the answer is simple. All you need to do is sell the destination. Focus on where they want to go, not how you're going to get them there. So let's break down exactly how you do that. Instead of walking them through every single step, help them see the transformation. Paint the picture of what their life or business will look like after they work with you. Describe the outcome so clearly that they can already feel what it's like to have it. For example, if you're a web designer, don't lead with how many revisions you offer or what platform you'll use. Lead with what it will be like when the website's finally done, attracting clients while they sleep, making their business look as professional as they know it is. Or if you're a marketing consultant, don't start by listing deliverables and timelines. Start by showing them what their business could look like when leads are coming in daily, without them having to chase them. Show them what's possible once they have an extra so many leads every single month without any extra work on their part. You see, your clients are buying the end result. They're buying relief. They're buying confidence. They're buying the end state that they are after. And your job is to make that end state so desirable, so vivid, that they can't wait to get there. And one of the best ways to do this is through client stories and testimonials. Instead of saying, here's my process, say, here's what's happened when I helped someone like you. Show the transformation in action. For example, talk about how a past client went from 3 leads a month to 30 leads a month once they used your marketing services. And here's something that's really important. You don't need to fully hide your process. You just need to reframe when you share it. So you save the details until after they're emotionally committed to the outcome and are already a paying client. Once they've bought into the destination, they'll be more than happy to trust you with the map. Simply tell them that you have a proven process and they'll kick off once the deal's signed. It's kind of like booking that Hawaii trip. First, you show them the resort photos and the ocean views and the beautiful beaches, and you get them dreaming about being there. And once they decide they're going, then it's a matter of them paying for the trip. And then at that point, you can explain what they need to do in the process of only having so many suitcases of particular sizes, and where the connecting flights will be, and what type of in-flight entertainment there'll be, and where the hotel they'll be checking into is. And hopefully their luggage will actually have made it onto the plane and get there in time. But you don't go through all that pain when selling the payoff. You go through that pain as you actually deliver the results so they can actually have the payoff of going to their hotel room, unpacking, enjoying the absolute beautiful stay in these beautiful islands. Because when you focus on selling the destination, you make the buying decision feel easy. You remove the friction, you keep them excited and focused on the future. And the best part is that you position yourself as the expert guide who's already helped others get there, and that you know exactly what to do to make it happen again for them. So stop explaining every little piece of what you do. Start showing them where they'll end up and help them see what's possible, and they'll be eager to actually follow you there. Clients are not buying your process. They're buying the result. They're buying the confidence of knowing it will get handled. And they're buying the vision of what life or business looks like after you've done your work. When you focus on explaining your process, you make them think about the work. But when you focus on selling the destination, you make them think about the payoff. And that's what gets them to say yes to what they actually wanted all along. So stop explaining every step up front. Stop selling the blueprint and start showing them the beautiful kitchen. Start selling the vision. Start selling the beautiful destination. And once you do, you'll notice that your sales conversations actually get easier. Your clients begin to trust you faster, and they stop second guessing you. They stop negotiating and they start saying yes with excitement and relief. Now, if you're wondering how to create offers that are so irresistible that people say yes before you even got to the details, then make sure to watch my next video here, where I share the story of how I almost got scammed and how that experience actually taught me a powerful lesson about creating offers that clients can't resist. So go ahead and click here and watch it now, and I'll see you in the next video.